There's a few point cases I'd like to bring within reason. No doubt. This first one is that a person with their backpack, you see them on like one shoulder, not the other. In the 90s when I grew up, kids would do this to look cool. And nowadays as an adult, I'm doing it because my back is sweating, and this is just because I've been doing cardio. I did cardio down the hill, and there's this private event that had been set up for 2 days. It was last year on the bridge. Same place, and you can tell it's private because they've got, this year, these giant drums made out of cement in the gutters. So on the side of the road, this is where I kick and push my bike. It's, I'd say not a good idea, but I don't have a bike chainsaw. I fancy the gutter, and I've learned a lot from it. Not for nothing, but as long as you're making sure there's no cars around you, it's perfectly fine. Because road bikes, they stay in the effing road. BMX gutter gang. No, it's not a gang, and don't take it as one. The FBI will come after me, myself. I saw also there's porta potties at this private party, and so that's when I know. It's the guy who's running it, the only guy who's kicked me out of a bar. I've been kicked out twice, once in Iowa for vlogging inside of the bar prior to ordering. And I order water inside bars. It's my watering hole. But this guy, he thought that I was talking to a different guy about stuff that was nefarious. The accoutrements of this, the aesthetics rather, were uncanny enough to make a bitter taste in our mouth, and we got up and left. So I consider that being kicked out because it was from him overstating a stance of ownership. So in this private party, I saw that there was like these security guards. You can get a guy who's a security guard who really isn't. He's just a low-end like mall cop or something. And they have these coordinations like a booker for booking events. These security guards who are low-end, you can tell they're really not trained in a police academy, one of any sorts. But in order to make up one that was a police academy for mall cops, you might as well make a university for villains. I noticed that in these superhero movies, they meet in these distinct locations. And from this, it's no surprise that there's ordinances where meetings of occurrence of special people, like one in Alaska. The Bermuda Triangle is a place that stuff goes haywire when you're going about it. There's magnetosphere on the Earth. It's no surprise that after a tally mark of more than 4, something's happening when it is that of an occurrence. The amount of planes lost over the Bermuda Triangle has breached that amount. So there's that, what's in the interplay. Alaska, their meeting, that's a different interplay. All the leaders around the world holding summits. You can hold the summit on anything. You can stagger anything. My bike can only go so fast because it gets staggered. Its wheels bent out of shape, so then they press upon the sides of my bike frame, and when they're taking the screws out, putting the wheel back on, you can get it to not rub up against the bike frame. However, there's still this tension within the center of the wheel where it doesn't go as fast as it could be if it wasn't staggered, allegedly. So you can only go so fast going downhill on this bike. And it's somewhat of the say where there's 2 people with the same name and you're calling out and you want to talk to one of them, but they both ignore you, or they both look at you, or the one that you're not calling out looks at you. And in any case, it's a paradox because you are looking in their direction and they're both the same name, that of which you're calling. It's almost as if you're not well known or well versed in something, and then you can get a sloppy copy or something less preferable. There's two roads that meet at the same place. One road has a giant downhill, and going down it, even though your bike tires are slower and you can only go so fast downhill, that you would rather go a place with less of a decline because you're more likely to get to point B in one piece. And really, that's the ethos of this entire arc, is that you don't want to get manhandled by Mother Nature, or quote unquote the man. Within this bar, this special party, I told him as I was passing by, because he was giving me a hard time again the other day for using Wi-Fi right outside his location, that I had to buy something. So I saw him at my local retail store that I'm a part of, and I feel like I was born there, been there that long, and so subjectively I would tell him at the retail store that if he's not buying anything as he's entering, that he shouldn't be there, something along those lines. And he told me, I don't know when to shut my mouth. And I said, listen, it is what it is, guy. And so I saw him again this morning. Luckily I had wind in my sails because I was going down a miniature hill. Side note, rolling hills, it can be small, and a ball going down a rolling hill at length capitalizes on the momentum, and it actually is going to go faster and strive better than one downward slope hill, for the most part. So that's an interesting depiction of what you wouldn't think is, but actually are. And I'm not trying to be wordy, but I know this is getting long-winded. I told this guy that it's a big day because he looked like he's all his hair gussied up. When it's wet, people have wet hair and they let it dry, and if it's long, it looks what they're trying to go for. I don't like being seen with wet hair because it looks like I'm trying to go for something. Put two and two together. And so I told him, big day. Didn't hear what he said. I'm going so fast on my bike. And then I said something else. I was like, I'll be on the curb. And then he said something else, because that's what I told him last time when he said I need to buy something. I said, I'll be out on the curb, because you can be on the curb. Fun fact, sometimes there isn't one, so you might have to huddle to a gutter. And then I said, I'll be on the curb, allegedly. And so that is even bigger of a analysis, because in order to prove something, you have to have within a reasonable doubt. And if you're trying to prove someone on a curb in real time, but you're trying to gussy yourself up and prep for a big day with this permit you've taken out on a bridge with all these porta potties and cement drums, hand washing stations, so you're preoccupied. And so in order to prove that, the cherry on top, I was like, allegedly. So it would be, I'm on the curb allegedly. Like, you can't get any more nonchalant without being risque than that.